So,
Good
hello and
call.
welcome to the RPG Academy podcast. My name is Michael, and we are back tonight live with session 4 of our shadowspawns or shadowspawns. We'll find out. 13th Age actual play. I'm very sorry that we missed 2 weeks back. We had some technology issues because I am not a smart man, but I believe that we should be good now. So, anyone watching, you should be able to hear both me and my players. So, let's double check by having them introduce themselves. Lisa, please say hello to everybody.
Hello to everybody. I'm Lisa Lee.
And quickly tell us who you are playing. Just remind us because it's been a while.
I'm playing Daria Irthos. She is a river guide, and she's red hair and freckles and green leathers, and she's a little out of her element out here.
Okay. All right. And then next to you in my virtual world is Caleb playing Rio. Caleb, say hi to everyone.
Howdy, cats and kittens. I am playing Rio Baymont, the adventuring wizard librarian.
Excellent. And then finally to his virtual left, Brad playing Saul. Brad, say hello to everyone.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm playing Saladin Chris Dark. He goes by the name of Saul. He's a high elf sorcerer, and he gets up to lots of shenanigans that most of which he doesn't remember. So
Shenanigans.
Alrighty. So we've already got a couple people watching. Thank you so very much for joining us and for doing our audio check, letting us know that it does sound like people can hear us. So I have Twitch alerts turned on. And so like if someone follows the channel or subscribes, I'm supposed to be able to see that. I got the notification. I could hear it, but I didn't actually see the pop-up. So I probably have something wrong. So someone looks like they just followed us. Thank you. I'm guessing it was Tipshular85. But I don't know for sure because you're the one in chat. If it was you, thank you. If it was not you, what are you waiting on? So since we missed last time, we're going to do a quick little catch up. So what had happened? What had happened was our three characters are kind of inserted themselves into this dig site for this ancient buried city. But Caleb got everybody fired, or Rio got everybody fired, apparently.
Hey, only I was fired. Everyone else is still cool.
That's true. You met a new member of the team of at the dig site that's like a head of security, and it's a bunch of lanyards are involved. There's multiple color lanyards, and you had a lot of fun making that person's life miserable, which is great because that's what I wanted to have happen. And then an old flame, apparently, of Saul's showed up, a Marion. Now, the thing about Saul's character is Saul's memories are incomplete and they're unreliable. So Saul does not remember this person whatsoever, but based on the interaction, it seems like you probably were a couple a while ago. And she became very forward in trying to maybe rekindle that relationship. And so Saul was set up kind of on a date. Rio and Daria wanted to, be around, maybe like your typical rom-com, or maybe they would like whisper through the tent to give him things to say. But as Marion and Saul were starting to get, comfortable with each other, Saul's shadow got up and GTFO'd right out of the tent. When that happened, both Rio and Daria decided, you know what, we should kill this thing because that's what you do with shadows that run away from people. And so we're going to pick up beginning of this fight scene. So Rio and Daria had chased Saul's shadow outside the tent, a little bit away from the tent, and had sort of got on either side of it. I believe there were some light spells in play to sort of try to capture it. And so we're going to start by rolling initiative, but we are going to include Saul in the initiative order. Let's just say maybe it might become important for him also to become combat at some point in the future.
I have a little bit of exhaustion.
Very much might have some exhaustion level, depending on how long this battle goes. So I pre-rolled my bad guys initiative just because this is where we ended last time, and it kind of was sucky. So I wanted to speed things up, and I will tell you that the shadow you're facing rolled a natural 20 on its initiative, just so that. So, all right. So again, as always, I'll start. Who thinks they got a really high number, like 18 or higher?
Don't we have some bennies or something, and we can make it re-roll?
You do. Everybody starts with one Benny that you can use to re-roll something yourself, or cause me to re-roll something, or it can allow you to do maximum damage, or you can cause someone to do minimum damage against you. Though I realize that in 13th Age, most monsters do static damage, so that's really not going to be helpful for them, but it might be more helpful for you. But if someone would like to have me re-roll the shadow, I absolutely will do that.
So for initiative-wise, I got a 23.
Okay.
Up and at 'em.
All right.
Yeah.
Who thinks they have
Saul's
close to a 23 there? All right. 10. You may got 10 or higher?
I have a 12.
All right. Daria? 2? 2. Okay.
Wait. How do you have a 2 when we are second level?
4. My initiative?
Yeah.
I rolled a 2.
And
All
we're
right.
level 2. And what's your dex modifier?
2, 3, 4, 5. I have a 5.
Boom.
A
Okay.
5. I'm going to leave it that way. I'll play cleanup. It's all right.
Good news. You figured out how to roll initiative. Bad news is you're still last. Doesn't matter. Okay.
I'm okay with that.
So we are going to begin. Where's my? Oh, wait, never mind. It's virtual. So we're going to begin this first round of official combat. The shadow monster is going to go first, and the shadow monster, everything that you could see, it seemed to be trying to run away. But now that you have sort of captured it, it's going to turn and fight. I again heard something that told me somebody either followed or subscribed. Didn't see it. Got to fix that. My apologies. I'll circle back around when I have a chance to see what's going on. So just so you know, it seems like this is a thing that's only fighting because you are forcing it to. Just going to say that at the top before I roll my first attack. So the shadow creature, it seems to have still a humanoid looking form. It looks a lot like the artwork that you might be able to see behind me here on the template. So it's a humanoid figure with like these red glowing eyes. And, that's the universal symbol for this is an evil monster, but, we don't know that for sure yet. It's going to turn, and I believe that Daria is the only one who's actually injured it so far. So it's going to start by attacking Daria. And the way it does this, it's going to reach out its shadowy hands, and as they move towards you, they actually sort of elongate and they stretch, well beyond the bounds. Think of almost like a Mr. Fantastic sort of attack. And both of these hands are just sort of grabbing you with this crushing strength. And I rolled a total of 19 versus armor class.
Yeah, you got me.
Okay, so you are going to take 7 points of damage as both its hands clasp down on you. And there's no mechanical effect, there's no extra damage, but you have this tingly, shivering sense of cold that just racks through your body, these shivers. And your breath, your next breath, when it huffs out, you will be able to see your breath. So the area around you has dropped significantly in temperature when it made contact with you.
Ow.
Next up is Saul. For the moment, we're going to keep Saul in the dark. But if you would do me a favor, Brad, keep track of how many times your initiative comes up, because it might be important later. So now we are circling to Rio. Rio, so you just saw this creature, stretchy elongation arms, grab a hold of Daria. It looked like a forced blunt attack, but there was some sort of other aspect with this cold. You probably would be able to see her breath puffing out. What would you like to do, sir?
I am going to use Magic Missile.
Magic Missile.
And that is just an automatic hit on the creature.
Okay.
I'm going to try to... Is it still touching Daria?
Yes, it still has her. Now, mechanically speaking, this isn't a grab attack, but just in the narrative, this is all happening together. It just grabbed a hold of her while you were striking it.
So narratively, then, I would aim my magic missiles at its hands, trying to encourage it to dislodge.
Okay.
And that is a wonderful 4 damage.
4 damage.
And I think Gremlin who's my familiar, by the way, a crossfox. Gremlin, I had originally sent it after the shadow to chase it when we were running after it the first time. I feel like right now she's kind of, you know how foxes like hop up in the air really high and like and dive down holes.
Yep.
I think she's like really excited and angry, but kind of worried at the same time. So she's like hopping around us, trying to figure out how to help.
Okay.
And how far did we run from the camp? Or rather, how far did we run from Saul?
Yeah, I don't know that because it was all narrative. I don't know if we actually measured it out, but I would say you're probably 200 yards away. And it's pretty flat here. There's going to be a few
Okay.
trees, but for the most part, you could probably still see the tent if you looked over your shoulder.
Okay, so for the time being, Gremlin will stay where we are.
Okay. All right. I have an initiative for something that you don't know about. I have another initiative for something you don't know about. And now we have Daria. So Daria, you are up. This creature still has a hold of you. Your body is racked with this intense cold. I guess I forgot to ask, what does a magic missile look like when Rio casts it? Is it just little darts, or does it have some sort of other characteristic? Maybe anything you want it to be.
So I think right now it's very much a non-fancy, just like an invisible blow. I think he's kind of in a battle mode, so to speak, and there's no fancy flair on it. So when he cast it, he just like kind of shot his hand out, Dragon Ball Z style, and then there was like a ripple in the air, and then two little poof impacts on this thing's hand.
All right, and so then just sort of following that narrative, you would have seen these invisible impacts on the skin, quote unquote skin of the shadow monster, and the ripples would have went backwards and forwards. So there might have even been like a residual effect that Daria could feel. Obviously, it wouldn't have injured her, but the transference of your force magic into this creature would have rippled up and down it. So I was able to pull up. So yes, it was Tip who followed us, as well as Alex, the humanoid, which I believe is from Identico. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. Okay, so Daria, it is your turn to act. What would you like to do, please?
I'm stuck. I just want to be able to grab my shell blade from its sheath and just try to.
All right, that works for me. You can attack. I'm not going to give you any mechanical bonuses or negatives, because you're not technically grappled. It's close to you, but so it'll just be a regular attack.
Natural 20.
Okay, that's let me check. Yes,
24.
That does hit, and it does also double damage. So now again, this is no shade on Lisa, but you're newer to the game. Do you know how to roll damage? Because you're now second level, so you're going to roll basically your weapon damage twice, or like 2d, whatever the thing would be.
2d6.
Okay.
Well, that's a 6 total.
All right, and then you're going to double it, or you're going to add your modifiers and then double it.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay. Solid hit. In fact, I'm going to say that when you sliced the arms that were already rippling from this impact of the magic missile, you basically severed them. And when that happened, the shadow creature that was on your body, that was now disconnected from its body, turns to like this ash and just sort of floats away. So it doesn't like pull it back again, Mr. Fantastic style. There's actually like this moment where the shadow's holding up its hands, and you can see these tears where the hands used to be. Maybe even a little bit smaller than it was. So a devastating attack, but it doesn't take the creature out just yet. So it circles back around. It's now its turn once again. And it's hard to read fear on this creature because it's a fearsome looking thing. But you get the hint that maybe there is some sort of fear behind those glowing eyes. And it's going to look over at Rio, and it's going to look back at Daria, and then it's going to turn, and it's going to, just because it's next to Daria again, it's going to attack you again. But this time, it has hands that are basically almost think like super regeneration. So it has arms that are growing back out of where its severed arms were. And it's going to reach, and it's going to just try to touch your head. Well, also, I should say, too, we are at escalation die 1. So it is making a touch attack against you. I got a 17 versus mental defense.
You still got me.
Okay. So a couple things are going to happen at the same time. One, you are taking 10 points of damage. Two, you now see something that feels like a memory, but you're not sure whose. So in this memory that you are now seeing, it's just pouring rain. So it's like just the most powerful thunderstorm you've ever witnessed or could imagine. The sky is completely ripped open. There's dark, billowing clouds that look like festering wounds. And in front of you stands a woman, battle-weary and bloodied. Her body is sheathed in this sort of eldritch energy of a sickly purple color. And it sort of approximates on her armor, but it bulges and flexes with this barely contained energy. And from the memory, from the sight line that you can see, you are pretty much lower than her. So it's like the camera of your eyes is looking up. You get that maybe you're kneeling or you're sitting on the ground. And this figure starts to walk closer to you. And it's definitely someone years younger, but it's very recognizable. This is Marion. This is the woman that's currently El Fracante with Saul. She staggers forward towards you. In this POV, there's a lash of purple lightning that appears in her hand like a whip, and she raises it and brings it down on you. But there's this sort of thunder crack as some sort of force field around whoever's having this memory, the lash bounces off of. And there's a split moment where you can see almost like a mirrored reflection of yourself. This is Saul's memory. You are seeing through Saul's eyes as he in the past clearly had a battle to what appeared to be to the death with Marion. Alrighty, it is now Saul's turn. So Saul, you've been poisoned. Hold on, let me pull up those.
I love poison. It's fantastic.
Poison is fantastic.
What flavor?
So essentially, the way that this poison was administered, it's like a free hit because you obviously were not aware of it. So you are going to take 10 damage, and it's 4 ongoing poison damage.
Okay.
And this was we're not going to get far into the graphic nature. It was from like a lipstick kiss, so that kind of thing. All right, so basically this is what you're doing as we'll come back around to you. So I guess you get to save at the end of your turn. If you'd like to roll your save versus the 4 ongoing poison damage.
I probably should do that. I assume it's a Constitution save.
Yes.
That's a natural 1.
Natural 1. Okay, you're not going to take more damage, but you're going to take damage once again. Okay, so Rio.
Do I take damage at the end of my turn?
Yes. So you took 10, and now you've taken 4.
All right.
So you take the damage before you save. So you will always take the damage.
Got it.
Before you save. All right. Actually, I think I did that wrong. You should take that next time. So yes, you don't take it twice in one turn. So you took 10, you failed. So at the beginning of your turn, you'll take 4 more. So you won't take 18, it'll be 14. Okay. So now we're at Rio. So Rio, you don't see what Daria just saw. As far as it looks to you, the shadow has once again attacked her. And it did attack her. It attacked her and she took damage. But she has now been like force-fed this memory that you don't know. So it looks in all intents and purposes that it's still attacking her. It is your turn.
All right. This is bad news bears. Now, you said earlier on we kind of had an idea that it was fighting because we were fighting it.
You definitely got the impression that it was only fighting because it was trapped. It looked like it was trying to flee. It was trying to run away. And you had trapped it using light spells and kind of cornered it, so then it turned to fight. None of that would have changed. It still appears that is the case.
All right. So I am going to try to talk to it.
Okay.
So it's got her. I'm going to do like the nothing in my hands. Hey, whoa. Hey. Can we talk about this? Can you let my friend go? maybe we got off on the wrong foot here. Can we have a conversation, friend?
All right.
I feel like this is some sort of persuasion check. I don't know.
Sure.
Or not. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's
okay. Roll. So I'm gonna say that based on my time adventuring, going through multiple dungeons for the library, a lot of times I've faced off with monsters that clearly could just kill me. And I've had to try to body language and social engineer my way out of some dangerous situations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the background I'm going to be using here as an archivist.
Okay.
Would you say this is more of a charisma or intelligence or wisdom?
I would say charisma or wisdom. I could make an argument for either one of those two, whichever is more beneficial.
Yeah, I'm going to go with charisma here. I'm trying to sweet talk this shadow monster. That's a 21.
Okay. So the creature, its visage doesn't change. So that almost like Venom Marvel smile thing that it has doesn't really change. Its eyes don't really change. But it does turn towards you. It lets go of Daria, and it starts moving slowly in your direction. But its hands are reached out as if maybe it's trying to touch you. We will decide what that means in a moment. Okay, so now we're back. We're going to jump into the tent. So the initiatives that I had rolled was for Marion, obviously. So she has now successfully poisoned Saul. She's going to pull a dagger. We're not going to ask where she had it, but she did. And she's going to try to stab you. At this point, you don't have any... You have small clothes. So basically, you're in your undies. She's in her, undies as well. So we're not going to ask where the dagger came from. It was...
This is the best PG version of what's actually happening that's ever been put on the audio airwaves.
So I rolled poorly.
Time, but she's wrapped in a sheet, like everyone always does.
Oh yeah. Well, in my mind, this happened before the fun stuff started. So this is still part of foreplay as far as she's concerned. But she tries to stab you with her dagger. And unfortunately, she's going to miss. So maybe she stepped on a cup of wine.
I don't know. My armor class is pretty low.
Okay, I'll check. She rolled a 9 versus armor class.
No, that didn't hit.
Okay, I rolled very poorly, and she doesn't have a huge bonus for this. But she steps forward, and she sort of sneers. And there's this moment where her face doesn't really change, but there's almost like a demonic overlay to her face as she tries to stab at you. And the dagger itself looks sort of demonic with its iconography. And there's some initiative that you don't know about. We'll move on. Daria, so you've been force-fed this memory. And now the creature has let go of you and is in the process of moving towards Rio with its hands out, similarly to how it affected you. Now, whether you believe that memory, whether you as Daria fully comprehend what that memory was, I will leave that kind of up to you, how you want to play it. But what would you like to do now that it's your turn?
I think the memory itself came with emotion, and I think that it was really shocking, and I think it was really loaded. And so she's gonna wipe tears from her eyes as she backs up away from this thing so that she can get a bow ready on it.
Okay.
Like extra wanting to hurt it for whatever that thing was.
Okay.
That's
so 21. Are you want to go ahead and attack it, or are you waiting to see what happens next?
I want to try to attack it.
Okay. All right.
I found purchase with the knife, and I found purchase before. I want to end this thing.
Go for it.
That was a 21, not natural.
That will definitely hit. So you can go ahead and roll your damage.
5, 6, 8, 9, 13.
13. What does it look like when this shadow creature is destroyed?
they're non-magical arrows, so I think that it just I won't make it funny. I was going to Steve Martin the thing, but I'd like to get it. I'd like to get it through the chest instead of the hole, through the chest, and then it'll do the ash thing. It will have one last arcing reach for him, and as it gets to him, its arms kind of pass through him as that ash.
All right, so. Again, that all so essentially almost like a balloon pops right in front of Rio's face as the shadow creature was going towards you, and then you're sort of covered with this ash. Daria, make me like a perception roll here, like a perception check.
Okay. That's a 15. Perception is wisdom?
Sure.
17 total.
Okay, I'm really good with the rules, people. For anybody watching, yeah, I know them like the back of my hand. Oh, what's that? Okay, so when you see this shadow creature pop and the ash just sort of fly around, it looks like some of the pieces land on Rio, and then you can't quite see what happens to them next. All right,
no.
So we're back to the top. Shadow is dead. We're going to go ahead and move the escalation to 2. Even though what you were currently fighting is dead. So it's your turn, Saul. So you are in your underclothes. Marion has revealed some sort of evil intentions. She's already poisoned you. You now take 4 damage. We'll do that at the top. She has a dagger, and she has this sort of demonic, almost like mask over top of her face as she's coming towards you with this weapon. What would you like to do?
I thought things were going really well. Saul will say as he kind of leaps back and away from her, and he reaches. It's pretty. Does he know he's been poisoned at this point? Does he feel poor? Like
Yeah, I think you would realize that something is off. You took that hit of damage at the beginning. You're still feeling unwell. There's probably that moment where like in the movie where you touch your lips and you see there's like a smear on them, and then she smiles when you do that. So there's definitely an indication that she has done something. Plus, you try to stab you with a knife.
Yeah. That's definitely.
I mean, I could even have her say, "I poisoned you." If we really just need to get that in there.
No.
Okay.
Saul will he will stumble back through the tent, probably knocking maybe the table over that had the remnants of dinner or something off like that, and he will he'll reach for his magic and he'll start sucking in power, start building up his magic. He's trying to get away from her.
Okay, so you are still
confused, doesn't understand what's going on.
All right, so you're still inside this tent, and in my mind, the bed, the cot was probably on the back side. So she is between you and the exit through the flaps, which are closed. But it's also just like a tent. Like it wouldn't take a whole lot to like cut a hole or dive under type of a thing. So you are limited in your movement, but you're not truly trapped. So mechanically, are you like building power? Is that what you're doing this turn?
Yeah, mechanically, I'm gathering power for like my standard action. As a move action, I'll try to, I'll say I'll trip over the chair and kind of fall and roll back, try to roll under the tent flap.
Okay. So I'll say you're on the ground, but I'm not going to have you get out just yet. On your next turn, maybe we'll roll to see if you want to try to continue to do that. But you need to go make your next save to see if you can stop the poison.
That's going to probably not be enough with a 10.
10 will not do it.
Alrighty.
So again, this is just basically it's a straight D20 roll, and you have to get a certain number. That's not it. So you take 4 more points of damage. And when you say
on my next turn, right?
Yes, at the start of your next turn. And then she will say, "The only pleasure I will get from you is seeing you die." Rio,
why?
You are.
What did I do?
You're muted. Standing by.
Sorry.
We'll take this moment to do an ad. This is the RPG Academy. Follow all the stuff we do.
That ad was brought to you by my inability to use a mouse. All right, so the thing was coming towards me. Daria arrowed it in the chest, and ash just kind of littered all around me. So, Daria, shadows and dust. Are you okay? What's going on? Are you all right? How hurt are you?
Ow! But I'm all right. That hurt. You did it get on you? Did you see what I saw before the thing? Beyond the thing, did you see the marine and the thing and the?
I didn't see anything. I saw it attack you.
No, he did. Well, yes. One, and I'll just kind of lean one arm on him. I saw one of Saul's memories, and she's no good. She's. Right.
Let's go. Let's get back to him. And I'm just going to start sprinting towards the tent, and I'm going to send Gremlin ahead of me as fast as she can.
So as you turn and start making your way there, so again, we said 200 yards, so we'll stick with that. You will see that 4 of the men that were sort of like serving and cooking Marion her food have taken up arms and armor and are standing outside of the tent, one on each of the 4 corners, as if to make sure that, no one comes outside, or in your case, comes inside. So how long will it take you to travel 200 yards to get up, or within striking distance of your spells or whatnot?
I don't know. What is natively appropriate?
How long will it take us?
I guess it'll depend on how deadly she is towards Saul. So it's her turn.
So I'm going to sprint as fast as I can.
Yeah,
I'm just flat out running.
I'm tailing it.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense to me is that this turn you're moving. I don't think you can do anything. Next turn, I don't think you could, but on your 3rd turn, I think you would be close enough to use magic or come up. So basically, you're going to be out 2 turns unless you can do something from very far range, like magic missile probably would work, something like that. All right, so Marion is going to slip around the knocked over table. She's going to come closer to Saul. She'll kneel down. Again, all the naughty bits are just perfectly hidden by objects in the room or the clothing she still has on. She has the knife. She's going to just sort of run it up your stomach, just light enough, almost like a tickle feather, before she's going to try to plunge it into your heart. And she says, "I only wish you could remember why you deserve this." And
maybe you can tell me.
That's a 16 plus 5, so it's 20 or 4. So it's it's a total of 20.
I'm gonna pop shield, which she will have to re-roll.
Okay. I rolled a 1. So we're not using any sort of fumble rules, but that's clearly going to miss. So I'm going to ask, what does this shield look like? Because obviously it deflects the blade. I know narratively or mechanically we had to re-roll, but I just like to think that your shield deflects. So what does that look like in your head?
So what it looks like is this this visage of a large golden. Saul is the former arcane champion of the Great Golden Worm. So when he casts shield, it is literally a visage of the golden worm that appears with its wings folded up in front of him, and they're transparent, they're kind of translucent looking, but it has that gold look to it, and it deflects the blow. They literally kind of like flap outwards to knock the blow or the blast away.
All right. So she'll kind of recoil. Hell, she even knocks the blade out of her hand because that sounds dramatic, right? And she'll say, "So you don't serve him, but he still serves you." And just venom dripping from her mouth as she says that. So you need to roll your save. Oh no, that was you. Yeah, that was your attack.
That's her turn.
Yep. All right. The soldiers are. That's who else I'd roll initiative for. They're still waiting to see what's happening, so they've taken up position, but they're not doing anything. Daria, it is your turn.
They've got the popcorn out.
Yep. They're literally. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Daria, I assume you're running with Rio as fast as you can towards the tent. Is there anything you want to say or do other than just wait? Cycle back around.
No, I want to kind of really get as silent as I can.
Okay.
Run. I mean, silent in the dark here, and try to. I don't want her to know that we're coming back. until I'm in range to get a spell off inside that tent.
Okay. Now, do you want to then move away from Rio so that you're not, like, he's not messing up your silence? So do you want to separate?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I want to absolutely give us some room, and so we can see each other and signal to each other. But if this were a movie, you would see my eyes kind of flash with a little arcane magic and look like cat's eyes a little bit. And
gotcha. Excellent.
She doesn't even know that she's done it, but she's.
All right. So we are going to cycle back around at the top. So I am going to move the escalation die to 3. I was going to keep it at 2, but since Saul disarmed Marion, it does feel to me like you have moved in like almost like an advantageous position, and your 2 allies are getting close enough. So I think that makes sense. So it is your turn, Saul. So you're going to take 4 damage at the top.
Alrighty, taking those 4 damage.
All right, and it is your turn. So you're still on the ground. She's still kneeling next to you, but you have disarmed her. Her dagger flew out of her hand, and she's just looking at you with the most pure hatred you've ever seen. As far as you know, you don't know. You've forgotten most things in your life. Maybe you've seen this twice before, but it seems pretty important at the
Maybe.
moment. Yeah.
It probably is. I'm sure there's a very, very interesting story that goes along with this, and maybe we'll be able to get it out of her at some point. But I will, as I've gathered this power, it's kind of boiling up and burning inside of him, and he has to release it. So he just kind of from his mouth begins to steam up with the dragon's breath. It is whiff of I guess of like cold air come flurrying out, and he says, "I would have been a sure lot easier if you just talked to me first," and it just unleashes a huge blast of bitter cold at her.
All righty. Is that an attack roll against me or a save?
It is. No, it's an attack roll. I'm gonna go for it's gonna be against her physical defense. 17.
17 hits.
Okay, because it's an empowered weapon, it's going to deal double damage, or an empowered breath weapon, so it's going to be 66. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12, 18, 22, 25 plus charisma, 28 points of cold damage.
Okay. So does that just sort of manifest like the air around her gets colder, or is it like a physical, like an ice ball hits her?
It's legitimately a dragon breath weapon.
Gotcha. Okay.
That he basically borrows the or manifests a breath weapon of just kind of out and it comes.
So in my mind, I see her like sort of taking this just full in the face. She's gonna fall backwards and like roll twice into the table that was already been knocked over. So there's that scene where she's sort of sitting up and the sheet is still just somehow managed to be tucked perfectly in position, but like there's
Frozen.
like her hair is like frosted, like almost like icicles hanging down. And the closest thing I can come to is like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where she's kind of like this might be the most pleasure she's gotten so far tonight, and she smiles. All right, Rio. So this is your second turn where you're quote unquote out of range, unless you have like a very far range weapon.
I gotta save, right? First, I gotta make my save.
Oh,
hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my Benny to reroll.
Okay.
Because it's a flat D20 roll, right?
Correct.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's 4 more for you. Okay, so sorry. Now on to you, Rio. So you're close enough now. You can see that the 4 warriors that were serving food and just basically like the retinue of Moraine have gathered around the tent. They have their armor on. They have swords already drawn. Their attention seems to be toward the inside of the tent, but as you're getting closer, unless you do something to make yourself silent, very likely they're going to hear you coming.
So with with the breath weapon inside the tent, did we see any evidence of that externally?
I don't think it would have gone external, but again, there's a light source in the tent. So again, there's shadows playing on the wall, except for Saul, who doesn't currently have a shadow. So there is no shadow that you can see of Saul, but you would see probably the shadow of, Moraine getting knocked backwards. There might be like mist coming out of the tent.
Yeah, it is an area. It is an area attack. So it probably took out part of the tent on the inside or things like that.
Yeah.
So, and are we? I totally forget. Are we still in like a tent village? Is there other stuff around?
No. So her tent was set outside. You now get the feeling probably this was intentional based on what she had planned. You, Caleb, may not Rio yet, but yeah. So her tent is basically off by itself. There's no one else around it. You're kind of on the outskirts of the dig site, but there's really nothing else around for a while.
Cool. I am going to use ghost sound.
Okay.
And I want to try to mimic her voice shouting to the guards, "Go get me a doctor! Go! All of you, now!"
Okay.
It says in the book, it says, attempted distractions with this cantrip are a DC 15 challenge in adventurer environments.
All right, well, let's roll a D20 and see what happens.
I don't know if it's me doing it or them trying to save against it. But I don't know. I'll roll.
Okay.
Well, I rolled a 2. So I'm going to say that probably didn't work.
Yeah, I also, like, in my mind, just also the thing that she said is probably something that she wouldn't have said. So the noise is made, the words are said, and the people are probably looking around like, what is that? So it still might have distracted them, but it's not going to cause them to like all run off and leaving the tent unattended.
Ah, shucks. Well, then I'll keep running.
Okay, so on your next turn, you'll be able to engage, mechanically with the bad guys here. So we've got a few more people look like they're jumping in, checking the channel out. So I just really quickly want to say welcome. This is the 13th Age game. We're not allowed. There's no way to say it's 13th Age. So it says D&D. 13th Age is kind of like the kissing cousin of D&D. It's just got a few other rules mixed in. So if you like D&D, you probably will like this. Hopefully, anyways. Okay, so it is back to Marion's turn. So that attack hit her, icicles in her hair. She'll do the thing where she'll sweep her hair over so she looks perfectly like a Disney princess again. All the icicles will break.
The cold never bothered her anyway.
The cold never bothered her anyway. She's going to look over to her dagger, hold out her hand, and just freaking Jedi style, it's going to shiver for a second and then fly back into her hand. And then she's going to lunge for you again, diving this time not for your sternum or for your stomach, but for your throat.
Escalated quickly.
Yes. And I rolled a 10, so with her, that is a 14 total to attack.
Against my AC?
Yes.
That'll hit.
That will hit. Great. Okay.
Craigslist, new sorcerer needed.
10 points of damage.
Ooh.
That will take Saul past 0.
Okay, so this might be a good time for someone to double check how the rules of dying work in this game.
I'm already on it, boss.
Gotcha. All right, the soldiers are looking around. They don't know why Marion would have said that. That doesn't make any sense to them. So they are going to start looking around, and I'm going to give them a chance to see whether or not they are looking towards Rio or Daria. They are not. And now, so it is Daria's turn. So Daria, this is the last turn where you can't really do anything unless you have something like a really long range spell or something else you would like to do. So what would you like to do here?
This says I have a ranged spell, but it doesn't give the range.
Well, the range bands here are basically like close, near, far.
Which spell are you talking about? The
Poison thorns. Target one random nearby enemy. You don't have
so
to go
nearby is the range.
Nearby.
Yeah.
Got it.
So currently you're not
there
nearby.
yet.
Yeah.
All right.
You will be on your next turn.
I'm just gonna keep booking it.
Alrighty.
Keep. eyes flashing with cat pupils.
All right. I'm actually going to take the escalation die down one since Saul went unconscious on that attack and no one else is engaged. Saul, it is your turn. So what does Saul need to do here, Rio?
Well, I
hold
take
on.
damage from the poison first off.
If you drop to 0 hit points or below, you're unconscious, but you make a death save. At the start of your turn, roll a death save. 16 plus.
I got a 12.
Take 1 step towards the grave.
Dun, dun, dun.
Failed save in a single battle, you die.
How many
I'm
saves?
sorry, what was that part?
4.
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't hear Bruce Wayne talking about rules?
No, I heard that part. I just wanted to re how many?
4.
4. Okay.
So
okay.
if you roll a 15 or less, you take 1 step towards the grave. After the 4th failed save in a single battle, you will die.
Alrighty.
So-
and if I get negative half my hit points, I die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Rio, you are up. You can see that from the shadows of the tent that the figure inside that you think was Marion has stood up, is turning around and walking towards the front of the tent. You still can't see the shadow of Saul, so as far as you know, Saul is not even in the tent anymore. You don't know. What would you like to do?
What are the soldiers doing?
So there was basically one on each side of the tent, and they are still there. So there's one on the tent side closest to you. In my mind, it's like the long side. So to the left of you would be the front of the tent. The right would be the back on the opposite side, which you couldn't actually see that, but it makes sense. You knew there were 4 of them. You can see 3 of them. Likely the 4th one is on the other side of the tent.
And we are at escalation die 3 currently.
2. I took it down 1 because Saul got taken out.
Okay. And is she outside the tent yet, or do I just see her shadow walking towards the outside?
Correct. You see her walking towards the front of the tent.
Okay, cool. So I am going to. Well, no, I can't. That's a close quarter spell. Never mind. I was going to cast Color Spray, but I think I'm still too far away.
Again, we're playing loosey goosey. I said at this point you could interact. So if you whatever range you need to be to use that spell, because you did take 2 turns where you did nothing. All you did was run. So I don't think you need to take a 3rd one.
Okay. Well, then I am going to use Color Spray. I can target 3 enemies in a group because of my D4 roll, and I am going to roll versus their mental defense. Okay, that was a 2, so I'm going to use one of my bennies.
Gotcha.
Because that's just ridiculous. Oh my lord. Okay. Well, that's a 9. 9 to 11. So that's a 14 versus mental defense.
14 is their mental defense.
I think we win ties, don't we?
Beats it.
Yeah.
Beats it. Okay, cool. So, 3 of them, and I'm gonna say the 3 I can see.
Yeah, makes sense. You muted yourself.
Sorry.
Maybe it was just me. You cut it out for a second. Sorry.
So the 3 of them will take 9 psychic damage.
Okay.
And if they had 10 hit points or fewer after the damage, they will become weakened until the end of my next turn.
They do not.
Balls. Hey, I still hit 3 of them at once. It was awesome.
You did. That was fantastic. So what does it look like when you cast Color Spray?
So Color Spray is a... So Color Spray, in this case, I'm running as hard as I can. As my arm extends, as I'm pumping my fists, 3 balls of like rainbow energy spark out, and they kind of zero in on each of them. And as it gets like right in front of their face, it just explodes in like fireworks. It's almost like a like a flare going off.
Okay.
Like a flashbang kind of thing. And as I am running free action, I'm just going to be screaming my head off, Saul! Saul!
All right, what's up?
She's bad news!
What's Gremlin doing?
Well, Gremlin, I think, can run a lot faster than me, but she can't really affect the battle at all. So maybe she is like nipping at their feet. Like she ran up and is like hopping at them and just kind of and then like dashing away and then running back and dashing away.
Gotcha. All right, works for me. All right, so it is Marion's turn. So she will exit the tent. She's still wearing her sheet wrapped around her elegantly. She will see her soldiers reacting to this magic. We'll see Rio running that way, and she will hold out her hands down at her sides, almost like mountain pose, and this purplish energy will start to crackle around her fists and work her way up her body, and then she's going to be sheathed in this purplish eldritch energy armor. It's the soldiers' turn. The soldiers are going to gather around her to face this new threat. Daria, you are up. As far as you know, no one knows where you are in the battle, but you are close enough to use any of your spells or abilities you would like.
I am going to, seeing him pulling focus, I'm going to drop to one knee, stop running, and I am going to reach out my hand and pull it down and cast Poison Thorns.
Okie dokie. What does that do?
It's 5 damage and 5 ongoing poison damage.
It is still an attack roll, though. It's wisdom plus level versus physical defense. And that's a +2 because of the escalation die.
It's what, +2?
So wisdom plus level +2.
Like
plus
my modifier, right?
Yes. Yeah, your wisdom modifier.
2, 4, 5, 6. No, that's still like 9. No, I miss.
All right. So the spell doesn't work, but does it just fail to affect them, or did something cause you to make the spell didn't manifest properly? Like what do you think happened to keep your spell from actually being effective here?
I think that I was so wrapped up in speed and the innate arcane energy that I'm really not understanding that I'm manifesting gets in the way of focus. Like first, I just wanted to go feral and get there, and that hasn't stopped yet. Like I'm not quite out of that energy mode that I don't even know I'm manifesting. So trying to get precision on that, and my eyes changing has a different focus, and it falls short.
All right. So one thing we haven't really touched with your character a whole lot is part of your backstory is that your emotions can have a limited effect on the weather around you. So how would you say your emotions are right now, and how do you think that's manifesting, if at all, right now?
I think that would bring up kind of a hot breeze.
Okay.
Yeah, like a little bit of a fitful breeze that kind of comes and goes.
So now her hair is flapping like a Maybelline commercial.
Yeah, like little tiny, a couple dust devils or something, like little warm, hot. It'll pick up some dry leaves, little kind of angry, fast.
We'll have a dust ball, like a tumbleweed go by as Rio is about to face off.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we are back to the top. Escalation die is 3. It is Saul. Saul, you take 4 points of ongoing poison damage.
Yep.
Well, he's dead right now, so I don't think the poison continues.
Okay. So I wasn't sure about that. I wasn't sure if that.
I'm gonna say logic here.
Well, I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, you are just unconscious. I don't know if we're gonna would we do multiple saves though? I don't know.
I think that the chance of you dying from making saves is enough drama, so I don't think we need to add on that you might get to half your hit points. So let's not worry about the poison anymore and just worry about the death saves.
Because I'm going to be there next turn.
All right, so make a save.
That's an 11.
All right. That's 2 steps closer, steps to death. All right, Rio.
2 steps towards the door.
So you see Marion She's got a dagger in her hand. There's blood all over the blade. There's probably blood on her hand, but she's now encased in this purple eldritch armor that has surrounded her, like lightning sort of crackling off of her. What are you going to do?
Okay, so can I, in kind of like a split second BBC Sherlock kind of moment, make a check to see if I recognize anything about the spell or any of the kind of like eldritch symbols, to see if I can understand maybe who she is or where this power is coming from?
Who are your icon relationships?
Oh, snap. Archmage, Diabolist, and the Three.
Yes, you are quite certain that this is someone who works for the Diabolist.
Shit. I'm gonna shoot her in the face with Ray of Frost.
Do it.
And we are still at escalation 2?
3 now.
3 now. Okay.
So, yeah.
Holy balls, that's a natural 20.
That's almost as best as you can do. So it does hit. So
all right. So that is 3d6 cold damage. So I'm just gonna roll and double it.
Sure.
5, 9, 24.
All right, I got to do some math here.
Now, historically for Rio, agents of the Diabolist have been after him, but I did not previously recognize this individual.
No.
All right. Well,
all right.
I'm gonna hope it's coincidence.
So what does it look like when you, like, what does this spell? How does it manifest to you?
Okay, so this time, so I'm still running at this point. I hit them last turn. I saw her come out. I think I juked over to the right to try to pull their attention more away from Daria. And I'm trying to make this a big flashy spell. So I do like a big wind up, and you can see like this trail effect of frost as I draw my hand back, and then like Kamehameha it towards her, and this tumbling ball of energy spins and spins and spins. And this is great because there was already some rhyme in the environment from the breath weapon.
Yeah.
So this, like, as it's going through the air, it picks up some of the frost that was on the ground, almost sucking it in. And then it, like the color spray spell, it explodes almost right before it hits her. And it's just like shotgun blast of cold knocking her backwards.
All right.
Slurpee in the face.
So we'll totally do the thing where like she gets knocked off of her feet and flies like
Say something else.
like 10 feet straight back. Her legs are sticking straight out, you know, classic, almost like Marvel hit someone in the sternum, they fly backward situation. Her purple eldritch armor is going to shatter, and just like lightning will blast off in a bunch of different directions, and she'll land and tumble on the ground. And then she'll do that thing too, classic Marvel superhero thing, where she'll roll, but then she'll kind of come up from the roll, her claws or her hands digging into the earth as she starts running towards you, Captain America, Winter Soldier style. Also, thank you, Alberto.
Bring it on.
141 for the follow. I finally fixed the Twitch thing, so it'll start now, but I did see it on my phone. Thank you very much for the follow. Real appreciate it. So she's just going to run straight at you as fast and as hard as she can. And as she's running, you can see this red glow start to sort of build from her stomach, and it rises up almost like there's a hot coal inside her belly, and it's rising up through her esophagus, and her neck is starting to get red. And right as she gets close to you, her face erupts in fire. and there's a loud explosion as she does something called a fiery teleport. So she's going to teleport away and basically leave a fireball at her point of origin where she left. So everyone in range, which would be Rio, takes... Well, I think I do have to roll for this. Hold on, let me double check my numbers here.
Bullshit.
Yowza.
Okay, so yeah, I do have to roll. It's against physical defense. That is a 16 versus physical defense.
Yeah, my pity's a 12.
Okay, so you take 20 points of damage, five ongoing, as she teleport fireballs away. And she is out of the battle, gone, and leaves that in her wake.